Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today, I have another amazing guest. This is somebody I met online a few months ago, and once I connected with him, we just knocked it off. And we had a lot of fun chatting, and it was just that synergy going together back and forth with different strategies, and just a great person to chat with. This guy is a serial entrepreneur and a real estate phenom. So please welcome Chris Jang.
Thanks, Fong. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome. Well, how's your day been going today?
It's busy, like always, making phone calls, making relationships, right? Checking out properties. It's you're not an entrepreneur unless you're busy every single day, because there's never not a day where you don't have something to do because you make stuff to do every day.
That's totally true. When I hear people go, yeah, I can't do it on this day because it's a stat holiday, I'm like, that's not the right mindset.
No holidays here.
Anyway, for people who wants to get to know you a little bit more and hear more about what you do, what do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Chris Jang, like Fong said. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started a marketing company when I was 20 years old. Helping urgent cares and dentists with their online marketing. And then after that, I got kind of bored of the whole service industry of helping people with their marketing, right? When I could have done marketing for my own company. So I actually went and pivoted to the real estate game, which I've been working on very, very closely and intensely right now. And as of right now, we're looking at properties all over California, also all over Nashville and Chicago as well. And, that's what I've been working on.
Awesome. Now, for you to jump from marketing and creating content for other people, why real estate? Why is real estate something that you gravitated to, and why is that a type of investment that you actually want to build up on? Because there's so many different types of investments out there.
Yes. So first of all, let me just say, everything I do, I mean, there's people that say you have to love what you do. You have to find your passion. And I realized my passion isn't necessarily one thing. My passion is business, right? And when I was 20, I just thought, hey, what's a business that I can start that's going to always have, that's always going to be relevant and that every company needs? And that was marketing. So I was, let's just start a marketing business and let's start off with that. So I can learn how to do the marketing aspects of it and help other businesses along the way, right? And that's also the same approach I went to when I was going to real estate, because like my friend Peter says, Peter Leon, he says, real estate isn't get rich quick, it's get rich for sure. And real estate is a slow game. However, I wanted to learn how to invest, not just run a business, but invest in property, because if there's something that we always need is food, clothing, and land, and a roof over our head. So I was like, what's like the thing that's the safest, right? But also can generate a lot of income. And also there's a huge learning curve along with it. It was real estate investing. So that's how my mind think is, not just necessarily, I like playing tennis. I just want to do tennis. I love business, right? I don't care what I do as long as there's business involved in it, right? But I was thinking, what's something that's going to help me along in the long term rather than just a short term. That's why I went to marketing and then transitioned to real estate.
So for people who are who know a little bit about real estate, there's a lot of different types of strategies, a whole bunch of different types of styles of how you want to invest in real estate. What's the strategy that you implement into your success all the time?
Well, the strategy I implement, I can't take credit for it because it's my coaches, JT and Paulie, that's taught me everything I know in the real estate field. And the biggest strategy is you got to pick up the phones and you got to make that phone call, right? But that's the thing that most people are afraid of, right? And as you know, real estate really is, along with business, it really is a relationship game. The more people you know, the more deal flow that's potentially going to come to you, right? So you got to pick up the phone. You got to build relationship, because you can't build relationship over the text. We can't build relationship over email or just through Messenger. Like me and Fong, we met through Messenger. However, we connected through Zoom, even because of the coronavirus. We can't meet face to face right now, but we had to have a talk. We have to see each other. We have to find that synergy between us, right? So the best strategy you can do for real estate if you're starting out and you're looking for a great deal is this. Great deals don't come to you. This is what JT and Polly taught me. It's great deals don't come to you. Great deals have to be made, and that can only be done through the phone, right? While building the relationship with that opposing partner.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned relationships 3, 4 times during that conversation there. What is your strategy to build great relationships? Like, is there 3 keys that you actually implement when you're building a relationship?
My more than 3 keys is what I found out is I connect to people that are authentic. So the more authenticity that I express, that I show, right, the more I receive back. And just that's why we had this synergy, Fong, is because you were so authentic, I'm authentic, and that's why we clicked, right? There's this saying, real recognizes real, right? But that's honestly what it is. I'm just truly just being who I am. And then this is what Polly taught me is you receive what you give, right? So you have to be kind, and you have to make sure that you're being true to yourself, right? You're being completely authentic, you're being completely open. And I think the other thing is you have to be likable. I think everybody, you don't want to work with somebody that's not likable, right? And that's how I start off. It's just being true to myself, right? Being me, right? Being likable, just engaging, asking questions, asking genuinely questions that I'm genuinely interested in myself, right? And number 3 for building relationship is follow up and follow through. That's what JT probably always emphasizes. You always got to follow up and follow through, right? That's what we did, Fong. I mean, that you did that extremely well, right? You followed up and you said, hey, why don't can we connect? I'm like, okay, for sure. And they're like, hey, how about this time? Oh, okay, for sure. Hey, you want to do my interview? Oh, I'd be honored to do your interview, right? It's all about that, being true to yourself, being authentic, right? Follow up and follow through. And the third one, being like, just be nice, just be nice. It never hurts to be nice, right?
Don't be a jerk. But anyway.
Yeah, and then it's so simple, right? It's just be nice, right? Everyone you meet, be nice, because you don't know what their story is. But that's not to be confused with, don't fall into those people that are obviously not authentic and not being true to themselves. Like, don't fall into those kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But like I said, if you're authentic and you're true to yourself, you can usually spot out the people that aren't authentic, and you feel like a little suspicion that's going on.
Mhm. Now, when people who want to invest in real estate, there's usually 2 hurdles that they have to get over. The first one is they never get started. So they keep on saying that they're going to invest, they're going to do real estate, they're going to get properties, but they never ever get started. Why is that, and how do you get started?
How do you get started? I personally never had that problem of getting started. My problem is I got started too fast. I'm too fast. But the problem with getting started is not necessarily the fact that you can't start. It's that there's an underlying fear that's blocking you. And today in JT's live, or yesterday, they talked about how there's some Fancy talked about it. She said there's some kind of fear that's blocking you from doing something, right? Whether it be fear of the judgment of others, fear of failing, right? Fear of not meeting other people's expectation. You got to throw all that aside and just, in the end of the day, go with your gut, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take an action, whatever action it is, to take you on that first step, because it's like a domino effect. Once you hit one domino, the second one's gonna fall, the third one's gonna fall, the fourth one's gonna fall, but it's not gonna go unless you start. And the easiest way to start is just, I don't want to sound cliche or anything, right? But just do it, right? Whatever it is, it might be it might be this small,
Mhm.
right? But it's like that saying goes, like a little mustard seed grows into a humongous tree, right? That small action, you might not realize it's gonna change anything about you, or you might not feel like it's significant. But even that small action is building that momentum for you to get started and get some kind of flow and rhythm going on, so you can invest in what you want to do and really follow what you uh intended to take action on.
Mhm. Very well said. No. So the very first hurdle that I talked about was just getting started. The
Yes.
second hurdle is a lot of real estate investors fail for whatever reason it is. And then it's hard for them to get back up and do that second deal or that third deal or keep on going. They just go, oh, it didn't work. I'm going to stop doing this completely. So the question to this is, what is the main reason why most real estate investors fail? And then how do you overcome a project that may or may not have gone your way?
That's a great question, Fong. It's funny because me and Paulie talked about it last week, and he actually told me that 78% of real estate investors fail in this industry, fail in this niche, right? And what I think the biggest reason why people fail is because they don't have a coach, right? Here's the thing that I don't personally love, and this is a lot of things. This is something that most people do is they think that, oh, business is life, so I can just start a business whatever I want and just succeed on it. Oh, real estate, I live in a house, so I can do real estate easily. It's not like that at all. It's the same thing as picking up a new hobby, picking up a new sport, picking up a new instrument. There's details within the real estate game and within the business game that you have to really understand and know. And if you don't know that, it's inevitable to fail, right? It's inevitable because it's the same thing as you're trying to play basketball, right? And you hop on the court, but you don't know the rules, and you're wondering why is the referee constantly taking the ball away from me? I don't know what I'm doing, right? It's the same thing in real estate. Just because you live under a house, just because you see land everywhere, doesn't mean that you can just hop into real estate. You need a coach that teaches you and guides you along the way, right? That tells you, hey, that's not how you do it, right? I don't think that's gonna make money, right? Because you don't know what a deal is unless you don't know what a good deal is, right? Unless you've seen a bad deal before, right? But if you have zero experience and you don't understand the market, you don't understand the game of real estate, then you're gonna fail. So you need that business coach to help you explain to you where to invest in, how to call, how to properly build a relationship, right? Because that's important because you like JT says, you don't get a second chance at making a good first impression, right? But with a business coach, with a real estate coach, they can help you and guide you along the way, tweak you, adjust you, and help you from failing, right? It doesn't mean that you're not gonna fail, right? But when you fail, they'll be there along the way with you, telling you what you can do because they've experienced the same thing before.
Right.
And to answer your second question is, how do you pick yourself back up? Now that you know my first answer, it's get yourself a business coach or real estate coach, right? And don't think about what the coach costs you, right? And this is what you Fong and I learned from JT is think about what he's gonna make you, right? Because if you invest $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 into the business coach, right? But thanks to his guidance, thanks to his coaching, you get a deal and you end up making $30,000, $40,000 on that deal, right? You made all of your money back and then some, right? And when you fail, what I do when I feel discouraged and stuff like that, I just go talk to my coach about it. I tell them exactly what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, and they tell me exactly what I should do at that moment because they've gone through the same thing, right? So to answer your two questions is get a coach, get a coach.
So I guess it'd be very repetitive if I go, so what's the importance of coaching? So don't need to answer that question. So the question now is, with all the stuff that's going on, we're facing a lot of different challenges,
Yes.
whether it's being locked down and being at your home. How have you maneuvered to adjust to this situation that we're facing right now?
How have I maneuvered? Me adjusting to the situation wasn't too crazy because I've done marketing and online marketing, and I had clients that are not near me, right? So I've always worked everything online. I've done everything through the internet, through Facebook, through Instagram. So not much has changed there. But what did change is when everybody started slowing down, when the coronavirus, started to happen, when everybody started slowing down, just like you, Fong, I thought I don't want to slow down like everybody else. How can I monetize this, or how can I take action? What can I do differently, right, to put myself ahead of the curve once this COVID or whatever it ends, once it ends, right? And that's how I pivoted. What can I do right now? Well, how can I make my time the most efficient? Because this COVID is not a vacation. A lot of people think of it as a vacation, but like Fong, me, JT, Paul, we never thought of this as a vacation. We thought, well, what can we do to double down right now, right? And how can we find opportunity in this environment? Because like what Warren Buffett says, he says, when something about when the trumpet plays, you don't invest, but when there's blood in the streets, that's when you look for the opportunities, right? So even though things are terrible right now and the environment, everything that's going on, it really sucks, right? However, you have to find that opportunity and you have to push and push every single day, right? No matter what the circumstances is.
Now, I know that during this period of time, you, like myself, started a podcast, and that's why we're
Yes.
here, kind of thing. Tell us more about your podcast and how you kind of structured it so that you get so many great guests on it.
Yeah, so my podcast, it's just like Fong's, it's on Millionaire Flicks. Like Fong is one of the originals. You know what I mean? I've seen Fong's Millionaire Flicks show way before I had mine. But my show is just based off real estate and business. Because like I said, I love business and I love to learn how to build relationship with people that are in the real estate game, right? And one of the great guests that I had the honor to interview were like my coach JT, Polly, Frank McKinney, who's also a real estate rock star, as he calls it himself. But that podcast is to develop relationship with people like Fong, people like JT, and just to learn more about them, but also give back and let people learn what I'm learning as well. Right? I don't ask questions that they've heard before. I really try to avoid that. I genuinely ask questions that I'm curious about in my podcast. I mean, that's my mentality. It's if I just think of it as if I was having a one-on-one conversation with you, Fong, I was just like, what am I really curious about that I want to know? Right? Those are the kind of questions I ask. And I find that in that way, those people get more mentally intrigued by it as well, right? Because they have to think about it a little bit, and that's fun. And speaking of great people that I've interviewed, I actually got the chance to interview Jillian Michaels today, and oh my goodness, she was so much fun. She was so much fun. But I asked her questions that I'm personally curious about. You know what I mean? I asked her because I've done research on her. You have to do research on everybody that you interview, and I just asked questions that I'm genuinely curious about that I really want to know. Right? That goes deeper than most surface level questions. So that's like the gist of my podcast is having intriguing conversation. I mean, thought provoking, and things I'm really curious about. Having those kind of conversations, asking those kind of questions that I want to know, and sharing it to the audience.
Very, very good. How would you say that you are able to have so many different topics that you could connect with people? How do you build up that type of that resource in your brain?
All the different topics.
Yeah, because like when you network and you're building lots of relationships, you need to be able to connect with so many different types of people, so many different interests. What do you do to kind of build that reservoir of topics that you can actually, I could talk about that. I could talk about that too.
Well, if it's regarding to, is it regarding to the podcast or just relationships in general?
Just relationships in general.
Just relationships in general. It's just, here's the thing I learned a long time ago. It's when you're talking with anybody, you have to be genuinely curious and genuinely interested in what the other party is saying. Right? So if I can meet all these array of people and I don't know anything about them, but my first question would be something like, hey, my name is Chris. What's your story? I would ask them what their story is, right? And then I'll be genuinely interested about what they're saying, and I will listen, and then I would break it off that. Like I said, some things that when I listen, there's something that clicked on. I want to ask questions about it. So if I'm building a relationship, I would ask questions. So that they would tell me their story, and as they're telling me their story, right? I would ask a follow-up question to what they're telling me, and then that expands to many different things, right? And then I never talk about myself. That's the thing. It's a situational awareness. If they're more successful than you, right, you have to listen. That's number one. I don't want to say less successful, but if you're in a position where you should be the teacher, I would do most of the talking just so they can learn and they can learn off me, right? Because I've had experience with great people, right? Learn from the greatest minds, right? So they can have experience off me. But it's just really being interested about what the other party is saying, right? And then building a dialogue through that. I think that's how you build a relationship. Is, like I said, you have to be authentic first of all, right? But I really do hate small talk, though. I personally, I really do hate small talk. I hate small talk. So I like getting to the point, but to the point of what I'm interested in and what the other party likes to talk about as well. So that's how it starts. It's just genuinely being interested about what the other person's saying.
Now, for somebody who connects with so many different people, who networks very effectively, builds great relationships, has a podcast, and as we can tell right now, you're very well spoken. Now, is that something that you've always had? Was that something that you worked on? Or is that something that you go, you know what, I was born with it, no problem?
You're too good to me, Fong. You're too good for me. You're too good to me. Um, I never really had to work. So I'm a Korean guy, and Korean women like to talk a lot. They like to talk a lot, and it was something that I was just good at when I was younger as well. I would talk to the Korean ladies, Korean adults, and I would just be good at talking to them. Um, but if you want to know how to, engage better, talk better, or just converse better, right? I think it's a matter of asking the right questions, right? It's just asking the right questions. Because the more you ask, the more the more you listen to, the more you learn, and the more you can build a relationship off that. Because most people like talking about themselves, right? And that's something that I had to learn. It's most people like talking about themselves a lot, right? And if you just do that, everything else will come easily because they'll start asking questions about you, right? And then once they start asking questions about you, that's when you start talking. That's when you start building that dialogue and that relationship. But it always comes with authenticity again. I always come down to it. It's just being authentic to who you really are and not trying to be someone that you're not, right? And I think that's the most important is having the aura of authenticity, like George Ross and JT says it, aura of authenticity. And that's how you do it, in my opinion.
Very cool. Now, you have videos, you do podcasting, you do a whole bunch of stuff where you're in front of people and you're posting stuff online. I know a lot of my clients have a barrier. They're like, I'm too scared to film that video. I'm too scared to post that up there. What would you tell people who are just too afraid to put their videos out or put their face out there? How do you overcome that?
To me, that's it's a complex problem if you don't take action. Like to someone who's afraid, it's just so complicated. There's a web of all of the reasons why you shouldn't do it, right? But if you focus on the main goal why you should do it, because it's going to build your brand, build your reputation, it's going to give you that brand exposure that you need, right? If you just follow that one rule and just take action, you'll realize all the fears that you've had, all these fears that you spiderweb down, made different reasons why not to do it, they all just disappear in that instant, right? So again, I don't want to sound cheesy or cliche or anything, but the best way to not be afraid is to just do it. Like just do it once. Just do it once, and then you'll realize everything that you thought might happen isn't gonna happen, right? All the judgment that you think that people are gonna say about you, they're not gonna say anything about you because I feel like the people that are afraid to post stuff is because they're afraid of the judgments of other people. That's what it is, right? As if other people didn't judge them, they'll post it easily. But you have to remember this. And this is something that my dad taught me is most people, everyone is too busy living their own life. You know what I mean? They're too busy living their own life, and they don't really care about you that much, right? Not saying that they don't care about you, but they don't care about you to the extent that should be bothering you, right? But that's why you have to just post it, but also make sure you post the right stuff, right? Because your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, your podcast is your brand, right? It is your brand. And, that's what JT taught us and emphasizes. It's your brand. Make sure you post the right stuff. Don't post your foods, right? Don't post you going on a vacation because your social media makes who you are. And, your social media is a brand that represents you to the people who don't know who you are, right? So just post the right stuff, post strategically, right? But don't be afraid of what other people are going to say because, like I said, they're too busy living their own lives, right? So you should just, once you take that action, all those fears are going to just disappear.
I'm wondering if that's an Asian thing because I remember my dad saying something similar. It's like, nobody, everybody's too busy to care about what you're doing. So why do you care? So
exactly, that's what it is. I mean, and it's true. It's very true. Like the judgment of other people that is like blowing up your mind.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's unnecessary because they're not talking about you. You know what I mean? They have their own problems. They have their own family issues that they got to deal with. Right. So just focus on you and focus on the task at hand.
Yeah. When you get
whatever
to the
that
point,
may be.
When you get the point where you have hundreds and thousands of followers and people watching and all that, then maybe you should start thinking about it. But that first video or that first post, yeah, most likely or not, you're the only one that saw the video.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And don't be and don't post anything dumb. That's all. Don't post anything provocative or anything that you're gonna regret, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, even in the beginning, just post strategically that you think it's gonna build a positive reputation to who you are and what your brand signifies.
So as of right now, what wakes you up in the morning? Every single day, ready to go. What motivates you?
What motivates me? Um, what motivates me? Well, it's just I chose a life for myself that I want to live by, which is the entrepreneur life. And I know it's a difficult one. I know that's a hard one, but it's also a rewarding one and a fun one. And it's just what gets me up every morning is just the ability to grow. I like growing. I don't like being stagnant, right? I don't like wasting my days. It's just I want to grow a little bit every single day. So in like 20, 30 years or whatever time maybe, I don't want to look back and have any kind of reasons. I don't want to be like, oh, I wish I'd done this or I wish I've done that. I don't want to say woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? I wake up motivated to, to be the best of myself, improve myself every single day. And like I said, I don't want to sound cliche, but I've been sounding very cliche this whole entire interview. But it's just that it's that fire. It's like you want to improve, and that desire to improve, that desire to succeed, that desire to get better, it's something that just doesn't turn off, right? And another thing is I don't want to let the people that invested so much time in me down, like JT, Paulie, my dad, all these people that have invested their time in me. I don't want to let them down, right? So I have a reason to get up. It's not just for myself, right? It's for the people that instilled their trust in me that I have to go, right? Take the action. Even when I don't want to do it, I'm like, oh, damn it, I have to make freaking 50, 70 phone calls today. Oh, I don't want to do it. But in my head, it's like JT and Paulie are like, oh, just do it, man. Just do it. They're telling me, I'm like, okay, damn, I got to make those phone calls. You know what I mean? And I made 52 calls today. I made 70, 73 yesterday.
Wow.
Right? And don't get me wrong. Like I said, this is what I live by this, but JT said it perfectly. I used to live by it, but I couldn't express myself, but this is what it is. You don't have to love what you do. You just gotta love business. You just gotta love that end result. You just gotta love that progress. Right. So what I'm doing, I don't have to love it, but as long as I know that's taking me somewhere that's better for me, right? That's gonna take me to the life that I was always seeking and the life that I'm working for, right? Then all of this doesn't matter. I just got to do it. Right. So I guess that's what motivates me, if that answered the question.
Very, very cool. 70 calls a day. That's like more than the average person makes in like 2 months. So kudos to you. That's very impressive.
I appreciate it, Fong. I appreciate it. I learn from the best.
Now, for somebody like yourself, if you had the opportunity to give one message to the entire world, what message would that be?
One message to the entire world. It would be, okay, wait a minute. One message to the entire world. What would that be? My message would be, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to try, whatever you want to test out, even if you're like a little bit curious about it, because what I found rare is curiosity is rare, right? If you're curious about something, just take action on it, whatever that may be. If you're curious about this field or this industry or this niche or this business or anything that's going to better yourself, and you're even remotely curious about it, right? I would say just take that initial step to learning more about what it is that you're curious about, right? Because having curiosity and wanting to learn, it's special. It's special, and don't take that for granted. Because a lot of people, a lot of people are stagnant of where they want. They're satisfied, right? And I would say just take that into action, whatever, no matter how small it may be, to what you want to do and what intrigues you or what you're curious about. It's just, like I said, just my motto is just do it all the time. Just do it. Not to copy Nike or anything, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, very well said. For people who would like to connect with you, catch your podcast or just work with you on real estate and whatnot, what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Chris Jang official. That's CHRIS. My last name is JAN as in Nancy, G as in gorilla, and official. You can just connect with me there. Add me on Facebook. Chris Jang. Message me. I love to connect with you guys and provide value for you the same way that my coaches and Fong has done for me. So that's the best way. Like I said, if you're scared to reach out, just reach out. Just take that action.
Great. Now, before I let you go, I have 5 quick questions for you. Just
Yes.
give me the first thing that comes to mind.
Yes.
All right. And after I talked to you right before this interview, this question is very, very suiting for you. What is one superpower you wish you had?
What is one superpower that I wish I had? One superpower that I wish I had. As I'm getting older, it's changing a little bit. It would be I want to see the future.
Wow.
Just not too much,
Mm-hmm.
but just enough.
So what do you mean just enough? Like a day forward, or 5 seconds forward, or like a year forward?
I would say a year forward. A year forward. You know why? Because I will know what opportunities and what investments are blowing up, and I could just start investing into there.
Sounds good. If you were stranded on a desert island and you can only eat one food and there's no consequence.
Hamburgers.
Very good.
Yeah.
If you can star in a movie and have your selection of any co-star you want, who would that be?
I like Robert Downey Jr. a lot.
Good. So now you have Robert Downey Jr. in your kitchen. He is hungry. What is your specialty that you could provide him or serve him?
That I can make him?
Yeah.
Probably like a bowl of noodles or something. That's the limit to my cooking.
Instant
but I'll make it well.
Okay. And my last question is, what is success like? I have 3 random items here. Pick one out of 3. One, 2, or 3.
1.
Number 1. So how is success like a waffle?
How is success like a waffle? How is success like a waffle? Oh, okay. Success is like a waffle because you have to follow up and follow through with it. If you don't check on your waffle to make sure that it's okay, that's not burnt, then your waffle is going to be freaking ruined, right? Success is the same way. If you don't check up, if you don't follow through, if you don't check what's going on, right, in your business or whatever you do, right, it might burn down, right? Just like a waffle, you gotta check it. You gotta follow up with that thing. Oh, is it ready? Is it not ready? Is it ready? Is it not ready?
It sounds to me you've had some bad waffles in your life.
I told you my limit to cooking is instant noodles. So what do you think, Fong?
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Do you have any last words?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you. Like, it was a huge honor for me to be on your show today. I mean, you have some incredible people that are on your show, and it's just an honor for you to even, have me on. And I had a really great time talking with you. And yeah, I think if there's some few last words, it's just be like Fong. Be like Fong. You have to. I say this so often now. It's like you have to follow up and follow through, and Fong's very good at that. Fong is very, very good at that. I didn't know who Fong was. He reached out, he sent me a message, and then we ended up to a Zoom call. I think in that Zoom call we talked for like an hour and a half-ish, right? And then we stay connected, and Fong followed through again, and now we're in this interview, and I get to share this message to you guys because Fong gave me the privilege to do so. So my last message is be like Fong. Just be like Fong.
Wow.
That's a pretty good thing. Be like Fong.
I'm going to use that sometime, but thank you very much. So thank you for your time. Thank you for all the great advice that you've given us. And it was a pleasure having you on. So so he is Chris Jang. My name is Fong Chua. So until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.
Thank you.